This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 8-inch.
On this week's episode, we interview hilarious comedian Eliot Chang, who is a huge Weird Al fan, and Dave and I decide the definitive top 5 songs on Dare to Be Stupid.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
I just got finished performing with this great comedian, and he's a Weird Al fan, so we needed to have him on the podcast. You've seen him on Chelsea Lately, the Chelsea Handler Show. You've seen two specials for Comedy Central, and most notably played the role of Larry Tang in
Oh my
Law
God.
and Order SVU. Please welcome Eliot Chang.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Yes, SVU is such a thing. People, I get texts randomly all the time, like, I just saw your scene in SVU. I'm like, yeah, I didn't do it. I'm not the murderer, but thanks. But yeah, we had a blast. That show, we literally just did a show like 45 minutes ago. It was so great.
Yeah.
Such
Thank
a
you so much
blast.
for doing it.
No, and I was looking forward to this. I'm glad we could squeeze this in because yes, we immediately connect. I'm like, oh, you're a Weird Al fan, and Weird Al fans are all over the world, but no one knows where they are. But when they find each other, we just connect so quickly.
That's right.
Yeah.
We live in sewers. We live in New Jersey, like Dave. I mean, it's one of those things where as soon as you learn that someone's a Weird Al fan, it's like, I guess we're friends.
It's
Like-
so specific. It's almost like sci-fi people at Comic-Con or comic book people because it's the weirdest thing. Like we have such a passion for Weird Al, the passion that it feels like shouldn't everyone have this passion, and they don't. So when you meet someone,
Not yet.
but it's the same. Like I'm also like a big Star Trek fan. It's the same thing. Like when I meet someone who's like, oh, I know everything about Star Trek. I'm like, dude, it's on. All right, let's talk. Because you think like, doesn't everyone love Star Trek? And it's like, no, there are people who are very apathetic and have a hatred for it. And I'm sure there must be people who see Weird Al and they're like, oh, that's a corny thing. And I'm like, and I just get started like, you don't understand what it takes to make a parody sound silly and how intricate and how talented musicians have to be. Like, you don't get. And then they're just like, this they just come off like a weirdo. But anyway, let me stop talking for a minute. All right, go.
No, I share that enthusiasm, and it's crazy. I mean, Dave, I'm sure having your tattoos, you get that a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I've really met anyone who doesn't like Weird Al, so I don't know about
That's
that. Either that or they're lying to me, which is very
Right.
possible.
They're like, this guy is going to beat me up.
Yeah.
I saw his arms. He has Al on there,
Yeah.
and it's a muscular arm.
Just say yes and not to everything this guy says. He's like, hello.
Well, the thing that Ellie and I were just chatting about before we started is sometimes someone will see a Weird Al shirt or a pin that I'm wearing. They'll be like, "Oh, Weird Al! Oh, he's great! I used to listen to him when I was a kid." It's like, yeah, but why aren't you still listening to him, dude?
Yeah, that's the
It's
thing.
it's not just for kids. Yeah, it's family friendly, but it continues to be a great.
Oh, isn't
thing,
it
even
the
if you're an
best though
adult.
when you're out and you see somebody with a Weird Al shirt or some Weird Al reference on their
Yes.
clothing, and you're just like you instantly bond with them, like.
Instantly.
I'll go up to people and be like, "That's an amazing shirt, man! Like
Yeah.
that is so cool." And I'll get the same when I'm wearing a Weird Al thing. Like people who are not just childhood fans,
Yeah.
but other people like, "Oh my God, did you see him when he came to the palace?"
You're right. And you're not wearing the T-shirt ironically like a hipster. You're like,
Right.
no. I didn't buy this in a thrift store. Like, I am a Weird Al fan. And that's what's really funny. The first time I heard of Weird Al, I think it might have been bad. Fat.
Yeah.
But like I was like, this is amazing. How like this sounds exactly like pretty much all his parodies sound exactly like the songs. And then I remember my first thing was like, hey, this is great, but this might be a fluke, and like, how long could this guy do it? Every album he releases, I'm like, oh wow, he's still doing it. And every album you're like, would this be the last album? And I'm like, no, because first of all, because he is working with such talented musicians, they can move with the times. Like we can recreate any music that comes out because that's how talented we are.
Truly,
And
yeah.
then, any documentary footage I'll watch about like how hard they work to make it exactly the same. It's like half parody, half an homage to the artist.
Right.
And I can't believe he's still doing it, and it's amazing. But it's surprising, but at the same time, it's not surprising. It's pleasantly surprising.
Right. I mean, one of the greatest things when Dave, I'm sure you remember this, when Weasel Stomping Day premiered on Robot Chicken on Adult Swim.
Right.
One of the bumpers, they do the all black with white letter bumpers. Was 20 years ago. If you told someone that, and this was before he died, but they're like 20 years ago, if you told someone that Weird Al would still be relevant and Michael Jackson wouldn't be, nobody would have believed you. And it's like
crazy.
It's so true. He outlives all the, then once Michael Jackson died, he had a resurgence. But really, a lot of these songs that you hear that he parodied, like, you don't hear about these people anymore.
It's funny, you know the song more than the artist. Like, you're right. Like, you hear a song and you're like, oh, it's Weird Al, and you kind of forget, like, hey, who was the original artist? I don't even know. And like, I know I'm sure for a lot of the younger generation, they probably learned about Weird Al for the first time when the White and Nerdy came out. And it's so funny because old school fans are like, dude, we've known about this guy for. And then, by the way, for me, so. Like I said, I learned about him a little bit later, and then I just started like looking at like what albums are out there, and I was like, I bought every single album he had, and then so every album that comes out, I'm still like listening to him. But then when I started hearing all the polka medleys, I'm like, oh my god, this is a whole new level of Weird Al that I love, because I'm like, I love these. Sometimes I'm looking more forward to the polka medley than the actual parodies. I'm like, because I don't like polka in any other fashion. Like it's not Weird Al singing. I don't like polka at all. But I'm like, I love his like alternative rock polka, his like 80s. I'm like, I love this. I'm sorry, I'm cursing. I love his polka, and I'm like, only he could come out, keep having the accordion appear in concerts, and people are like waiting for the medley. They're waiting for the polka, and I'm like. And you know what's I told you, I still have not got to see him live, and it kills me. Every time like he's going to be in town, because I'm in Los Angeles, if he's going to be the Orange County, I'm like, I'm in town. I'm like, I'm on the road that week, and I can't. Oh man. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Hopefully this tour. Hopefully you can.
I want to. Everyone's like, dude. Everyone I've talked to, like, it's a spectacle. It's like a Broadway show, rock concert, hilarious comedy club experience. It's ridiculous.
It's the best.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Dave, talk. I'm sorry. I'm just rambling on.
And that's a great way to describe his shows. They really are just like multimedia extravaganzas. They're like, people will go and they're like, okay, whatever. But then when they see it, they're like, I can't believe that was better than anything I've ever seen, just as a standalone show. Let alone the fact that this guy's funny, and it's just but it's funny. You mentioned too. People, every album that Al comes out with, he gets a whole new crop of fans, and they go through that exact thing that you went through, where it's like, oh, I love this guy. I wouldn't, and then oh my God, he's been around for a while, and they go and they buy his entire back collection, his back catalog, and he goes through everything.
What I would give to be in that position again, to have all that music for the first time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Discovering it, you're like, oh my god, he did a cover of this. Oh my god, he did a cover of this. Oh my god, I can't. And then like you start going through his originals, and you're like, oh, hey, these are some originals. Like, okay, And then you go through the process. So I listened to the songs, and then I went to process like, let me see if there's a video, because the videos are always hilarious, and they're so intricate. And I'm like, this is so good. And like
it's a golden age now with YouTube and all that. Because like, I remember when I was a kid, I had to buy a DVD, and I would sit on the couch for 3 hours and watch every single one. And now it's just like, oh, you have a break at work, you can just pop up one of the videos and
it's crazy. Like I've seen footage of people like, hey, here's a bootleg video on YouTube of one of his concerts, and I'll watch like all the costume changes. I'm like, this is like really intricate. This is a very thorough performance. It is like a Broadway play. It's like, all right, we gotta like play this video while everyone's rushing to change. we gotta all look like Jedis now, and like rushing each other. All right, everyone, put your gangster wear on. And I'm like, at the end of a performance like that, he must be exhausted. It's crazy, But I think, you know what? I think that's what diehard fans appreciate. It's like, look, we never feel like we buy a ticket and we're gypped.
Right.
It's like we had a great time, and it's also like, I personally believe like there's a lot of like upcoming rappers who are like funny rappers. Like I'm a big fan of Lil Dicky, who is a self-made rapper, and it's comedy rap, but he started with like just doing like, he made the beats on his laptop, self-made, and I'm like, I really believe, I've never talked to Lil Dicky, but I'm assuming him and other rappers like that were influenced by Weird Al.
They have to be.
They have to be. Weird Al was like, hey, I just did it on my own. I just grabbed guys and we just started making music that's funny on her own, I really believe it's influenced probably like Steel Panther is a
totally.
is a total parody heavy metal band. I'm like, I don't think there would have been Steel Panther without Weird Al. I don't think there would have been Little Dicky with Weird Al. Like he inspired people to be like, we can be funny with music.
Right.
Before that, like I don't remember any funny songs like that was like really comically funny. You know. Anyway. See, I'm the right person to be on this podcast.
I'm so glad
I'm just not letting anyone else talk. So you guys talk for a minute.
Well, you're the guest. I mean, people hear Dave and I talking all the time. But I do want to, for anyone in our audience who is not familiar with your stuff, you're insanely funny.
Thank you.
So let me just say that we did mention we just did a comedy show, and one of the best that we've ever done. At the show I produce in Schenectady, and we've known each other for years. I used to do a comedy radio show, and I interviewed you. I think, what did we decide? It was like nine years ago, 8 years ago?
I think it was 2011 when, because that's right around the time my first special aired. First Comedy Central special aired. And I remember that's how we discovered, like, oh, you're into Weird Al. It just
we instantly became friends.
Yeah.
And now, you're coming from LA to Schenectady, New York to perform. But what's really amazing is, so I'm taking a look at your YouTube channel. You have like a number of viral videos.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know how do you react to that? How do you when does it hit? Is it an overnight thing, or is it like one day you just start getting buzzes on your phone?
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually kind of like, I swear I'm not making this up. It's kind of like Weird Al's career, where like when he first did Another One Bites the Dust, we did the parody, and like it was kind of, for me, it was out of nowhere because I never planned to be a YouTuber. I'm a comedian. I'm a stand-up comedian, and as you know, there's a lot of comedians who look down on YouTubers, which I understand. But I just happen to have one video because I tape a lot of my shows just for my notes, as you know, comedians do that.
Right.
And I taped one of my shows, and it was a night there was a heckler incident, and I decided, I'm like, oh, let me just put this 5-minute clip on YouTube, whatever. And it got some traction, but then a couple of months later, all of a sudden, like, my friend texted me, like, you're on Reddit. And I'm like, I didn't even know what that was. I'm like, what is that? And then, boom, it went viral. So I started putting up more videos, and, like, they just all went viral. And, like, now I'm at, like, 18 million views, and, like, I have, like, 500 videos. I mean, they're not all heckler videos, but I started, like, experimenting. I'm like, all right, well, it's cool that these viral videos have been going well. But I was like, let me just put up anything and see what happens. And I discovered, like, other videos have gone viral, whether it's my stand-up or I have, like, life advice, dating advice. And I can never predict which ones will go viral. So I just throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. And, like, obviously the majority of them have been heckler videos because people just love, like, train wrecks. So those go...
totally.
They have millions of views. But then I have, like, videos of, like, me, like, one day I'm like, you know what? I got this hidden camera thing set up. Let me go pick up this girl and see if anything will happen. And I have a couple of those where, like, the experience was either successful or just funny, and then those went viral. But believe me, I have plenty of videos where I tried that and I was just shot down. No one's ever going to see that footage because I'm like, this is embarrassing. But yeah, so YouTube actually gave me a boost to my career because then actually that got me a lot of work because I became YouTube famous.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so one thing, so I'm looking at these videos and I immediately start thinking, like, you have, as you said, a lot of these shutting down heckler videos. Is this a worry of yours, or has this happened where people are showing up and they want to be the next heckler?
Yeah, because they don't fully understand what heckling is. They're like, wasn't it a part of the show? It's like, no, it happened, and I was able to make it funny, but it doesn't always work like that. So I don't want hecklers, and I keep saying this. People are like, oh, when I come, I'm going to yell something out. Like, no, don't do that. Because... like, majority of the time, sometimes, like, someone might yell something, and if I can't make it funny, it's like, well, now this is just awkward.
Right.
And it's going to take me 8 minutes to, like...
And you're not going to post that one.
Yeah, and I'm not going to post it. So it's like, you kind of put a hiccup in the middle of the show. So, like, when I can make it funny, I'm like, hey, I salvaged this situation, let me put it online. But it is a catch-22. Like, it gets me fans, because they love my viral heckler videos, but then you get fans who are like... I'm going to go and yell something out and I'll be on the next video. I'm like, no, don't do that. It happens more at colleges than comedy clubs. Because at least comedy clubs, people are a little bit more savvy. But, like, 18-year-olds are like, this is going to be great. And I'm like, no, it's not. Stop, But yeah, it does happen,
Oh, man, I love it. I think we got to ask you, do you have a favorite Weird Al song?
Oh, God.
Tough question.
No, it's so
I don't
tough.
envy you. I don't know how I would answer that.
It's definitely, like... there's a couple of medleys I love listening to all the time because what will happen is because it's so many songs in one medley. So I like
Right,
the
that
polka
is-
medleys. For a long time, I think it was Fat for a long time. But then White and Nerdy really blew me away because I never knew he could rap so well.
Right.
It was unbelievable. I would watch the video over and over and listen. I'm like, he's rapping so fast. It is so fast. It's unreal how fast. Like I immediately was like, let me see if someone posted of him doing White and Nerdy live. And again, it was just as good. I'm like, how is he doing this? He's like riding a Segway, and like,
Right.
I'm like, how? Like, I can't talk that fast, and he's rapping that
yeah.
fast. So I would say, I'll see White and Nerdy. Like for a
It's
while,
a great choice.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's. But I
You've
mean,
got a
it's-
great video to go with
It's
the song.
yeah, it's also a cheesy choice. Yeah, I'll say White and Nerdy for a long.
It is a
time.
little cliche, I will say.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Like for a long
I
time,
respect it.
For a long time, I used to love I love Rocky Road. I love
Oh my God, that's
because I just love Joe and Jet, and so for
Yeah.
a long time.
That's the first song I ever memorized.
Oh really?
Of any song. Of course, it was Weird Al first, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I lost on Jeopardy. I always think that's funny.
That is
Um,
one of my all-time favorites.
But there's just so many. There's so many. There's probably a couple, by the way, I know there's a couple of originals that I probably really dig, and I just can't remember them right now. But yeah, I think White and Nerdy is a standard, but there's too many to name.
I think
for
it's
sure.
a great choice.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful to have you on this podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and I hope everyone will check you out. Check out your YouTube channel, The Eliot Chang. We can get. Is it The Eliot?
No, I
Chang?
think it's hold on. I can't even remember. It's Eliot Chang official. I'm so
Oh,
stupid.
God,
I'm like,
okay.
is it? No, it's Eliot Chang official. By the
Okay.
way, if you just Google Eliot Chang comedy, there's only one of me. So
Right.
In reference to comedy, so you can just look that up.
We can see your videos. We can check you out on Comedy Central specials. We can look up that episode of Law and Order.
You know, I don't brag too much about SVU because like I love SVU, but it's all like obviously horrific crime. So it's like sometimes I'll watch like a couple of episodes in a row, and at the end I'm like I can't watch anymore because I feel dirty. It's always horrible crimes, but yeah, SVU is great. And then but thanks for having me. I was very excited to talk about Weird Al. It's funny we didn't even talk about like how his hair has changed over the years when he finally shaves off his mustache, which I was like, what? Like maybe the next time I come Disconnected, the show, we're gonna talk about the UHF. We have to talk about.
There's so much to cover.
There's so much to cover.
30+ year career.
His short-lived TV show, which people don't know about, and it was his TV show is really, really funny. It's like it's wild that like he's done so much, and I'm just saying all this stuff. Hopefully, he'll hear this, and one day if I ever do a TV, like if I do or if I just do stand-up at the Hollywood Improv, if he happens to be there, he'd be like, "Oh, I know this guy," and he'll come up to me because I'll be too intimidated to be like, "Hey, I'm a really big fan." Fuck it, you hear this all the time. Never mind. Like I want to be like, I'm such a big fan. I would love to talk to you for hours, and I'm like, he gets that everywhere he goes. So, but anyway, but thanks for having me, Ethan and Dave. This was a blast, man.
Thank you, Elliot.
No, thank you, dude.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Elliot. This is great, and we will definitely have you on again. There's so much more to cover.
Yeah, I can't wait
And,
to chat with you about UHF. That's going to be so awesome.
Oh, it's gonna be so great. He gets to drink from the hose.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Hey everyone, it's MC Lars. You're listening to Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Dave, it's a very exciting day. Today we are going to come up with a definitive top 5 songs on Dare to Be Stupid. We've both listened to this album many times in our lives, and we have come prepared. I've made my list of my top 5 favorite songs in order, and you've got your top 5 songs. So we are going to come up with the definitive top 5 Dare to Be Stupid songs.
Yeah, I have 6 pages of notes about Dare to Be Stupid. So this is going to be a good conversation. But I know everybody knows what Dare to Be. Everybody who's listening has heard Dare to Be Stupid. But I just want to say that for people, maybe somebody stumbled across this podcast, accidentally thinking it was something else. Dare to Be Stupid, of course, is Weird Al's 3rd studio album. It was released in June 18th, 1985, and it was certified platinum on February 24th, 2003. So basically, this is an older one of Al's albums. Some of the songs on this are probably older than some of our listeners.
Older than me. This whole album's older than me.
So this is going to be interesting too, because there is an age difference between Ethan and I, and I've actually heard a lot of these songs, and as
The
before,
originals.
the original songs that some of these songs, of course, are parodies. I've heard the original songs of these parodies, and Ethan wasn't even born yet when this album came out.
I was looking through this list, and I don't think I ever really realized that "I Want a New Duck" was even a parody. So I'm definitely gonna have to listen to "I Want a New Drug" because I always love hearing the originals, because most of the time I do hear the originals after I hear the Al song, obviously. So I'm always curious to hear what they actually sound like.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very interesting a conversation, because we're coming at this from different perspectives. But so let's just get started here, Ethan.
Yeah.
We should have our list in front of us.
Yes.
I think we should just start at number 5, and you tell me what your number 5 is, and let's see
All right.
what happens.
Okay. I mean, I do want to just put out there, it was such a hard exercise to actually come up with a top 5, and I feel like if you asked me again tomorrow or next week, it might be different. So this is just a snapshot in time of my top 5 favorite on this album. But without any further ado, my number 5 song on Dare to Be Stupid is Cable TV.
Okay, you know what? I like Cable TV.
It's a great song.
Yes, it is a great song, and it did not make my top 5.
Oh.
but it was on my honorable mention
Okay,
list. I did
okay.
want to make sure we talked about Cable TV. A little bit. I'll let you, since it's your number 5. I'll let you say why you think you should be on the list.
I don't have 6 pages of notes, Dave. I just really like the song. I think it's really catchy. There's a good 27 in there. I think it's funny. I think it's just it's a TV related song, and we all know that Al loves TV related songs. So it's one of the quintessential Weird Al songs for me, and I just because of that, I put it that high on the list.
Yeah, for me, the reason why it made the list was because of it. Put it in the time frame of 1980. Why it made my honorable mention list. Put it in the time frame of 1985. Cable TV, $50 a month and 83 channels. That was like amazing. Now
Right.
you're kind of like, well, $50. If you're lucky, if you can find cable TV for $100, $200, right? And 83 channels. If your cable provider came to you and said we have 83 channels, you would laugh at them. There's 1,000 channels on my cable TV right now. So at the time it was amazing, and the way that Al presented it, he was kind of like, well, it's 83 channels and you're paying $50, but basically. And this is the line, real quality programs, the kind you just can't get for free, was kind of said a little bit sarcastically.
Right.
Because the joke was, yeah, you're paying all this money, you have all these channels, and there's nothing not ever on TV.
Right.
But the reason it didn't make my list, because it didn't age as well as some of these other songs.
See, I guess I didn't think about if it aged. It's almost timeless to me. I like that it's a snapshot in history, and I also, some of the things you were saying, it kind of makes sense again. Like, it's kind of like, it kind of went away and then came back. The same way that YouTube, it's like you can literally watch anything you want on YouTube. So really, why are we watching cable anymore? And people are cutting cable, left and right. So it's kind of an interesting snapshot to me. And that's why I like. That's part of why I like it. It's not why it made the list, but I do like that aspect of it.
And that's perfectly fine. We each have our own criteria for judging these.
I would have been surprised if we both had the same list. So,
that definitely won't be happening.
Okay, what's your number 5?
My number 5, and this song is I feel is very unfairly underloved, and that is "Girls Just Want to Have Lunch."
I love that song.
I do too. That's why I made my list. It is such a fun song. It's I know Al, it's not one of Al's favorites, and maybe that might be why it doesn't make a lot of people's lists. And he also, he's also when he did it, he was kind of forced to do this song by his record label. And he kind of does it in his whiny voice, but the thing is, it works in that song.
It does.
For some reason. It just works for me. And Al was like, he tries to be as perfect to the songs as he could, especially, by this is his third album, he's really getting good at trying to hit, his songs as much as one. When I listen to this, I also listen to the original Girls Just Want to Have Fun as well, by Cyndi Lauper, and it's pretty. It's not as close as some of his other parodies, but it's pretty close to the original. But Cyndi Lauper's a female, Al's not, so the voice is he's never gonna be able to
Right.
do her voice. So he might as well just have fun and do a really silly, whiny voice.
I love it. And I think a great segue is my number 4 is Girls Just Want to Have Lunch.
Hey, excellent.
So we're on the same page. Very, very close to being on the same page.
Right.
All right. What's your number 4?
All right, my number 4, again, another parody. And this one was another female parody. And it's the Madonna's, of course, Like a Virgin, done as Like a Surgeon.
Okay.
Okay. What I really like about that is I really enjoy the heart monitor starting off the beep 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 in the beginning, and it goes through the whole song, and then at the end it's beep beep beep, and then it flatlines like the guy has passed away.
It's great.
and it's great because listening to the original Like a Virgin, there is that little heartbeat type of sound throughout the whole song. So I really think Al just really hit it with that. I was actually this is one where, and same with Girls Just Want to Have Fun. This Like a Virgin was a song that I was very familiar with at the time. Hearing, so I was able to appreciate that. I've heard the original and now I heard the parody. And I also like the fact that this is the only song that where the original artist actually suggested it to Al.
Right.
And he took, so I like that. And I also like that it has different, that over the years, he has kind of a couple different versions, the Truth or Dare version, and of course, the unplugged version.
The first time I ever heard Like a Surgeon was actually at a concert. I assume it was probably my first concert, and complete with the cone bra, if you remember that. That part.
Oh, I remember that cone bra.
So I think that's the first time I ever heard it, and then once I actually got Dare to Be Stupid, it was always a favorite of mine. And I think that's a great segue to my number 3, which is Like a Surgeon. No, I already said 4. My number 3 is Like a Surgeon. Your number 4 is Like a Surgeon.
Well, okay, so we're like a lot more similar than we think we are here.
So all the songs you like, I just like one better so far.
All right, well, I guess I can't ask you what your number 4 is or your number 3 is. So let me give you my number 3.
Yeah, what's your number 3?
With my 6 pages of notes and find it.
There's only 11 songs.
No, okay. No, really. My number 3 is an original or style parody, really, of a doo-wop song, One More Minute.
Excellent choice.
Now, I was 11 years old when this album came out. I was a lot of those jokes in One More Minute, a lot of lyrics are kind of innuendos,
yes.
or they are innuendos. And as an 11-year-old, I was starting to pick up what was going on.
That's a double entendre.
Yes. So for me, this song was funny on, I didn't 11 years old. I hadn't gone through any breakups or anything like that. I didn't have a girlfriend, nothing like that. I don't even know I guess I was interested in girls at that point. But so I didn't really connect on it as the breakup, but I connected on it on that level.
Right.
And of course, it had cool things like jumping into or diving into a swimming pool filled with double-edged razor blades, and and cleaning all the bathrooms in Grand Central Station with your tongue. I mean, how could you not love that?
I love that
now,
line. I love it, yeah.
as an 11-year-old kid. So that was my number 3.
Excellent. My number 3, is Like a Surgeon. My number 2 is Yoda.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Number 2 is Yoda. I really don't know how much of a case I need to make for Yoda. Al plays it. He's played it at almost every live show he's ever done, and it's with great reason. It's such a good song. It's about Star Wars. It's this funny song. It's so catchy. It just gets stuck in your head. I loved this as a kid, and I love this now as an adult. It's just a great song. Of course, parody of Lola by the Kinks, which a lot of people are like, hey, that song was already funny. Yeah, but he improved it with making it Yoda.
Right, and this one was on my list too, and this one actually made my number 1, Yoda.
Oh,
so
spoiler alert!
Spoiler. But I enjoyed it for the same reasons. I grew up at the time when Star Wars, was the big thing, and then this song, of course, referencing Star Wars. I wasn't familiar with the original before I heard Yoda. I heard Yoda before I heard Lola. But I mean, for the exact same reason. It's not really, it's just, I have to give this song the number 1 spot on my list, just because it's the song that's probably Al's, audience favorite. It's
right.
Al's closer for so many years. The people just, whenever he performs it, the audience just sings along the entire song. Yeah. And of course, and then he's also in concert when he does this live. He's put that chant in there, the Yoda chant.
See, that
kind of just.
That's kind of why it didn't make my number 1 spot, because I prefer the live version so much. I love the Yoda chant in there, and I don't like the album version as much. So that's why I reserved a different song for my number 1 spot. Which I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say my number 1 is your number 2.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you what my number 2 is.
All right, let's hear it.
And that is another original or style parody. It's This Is the Life.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Whoa. So my number 1 is not even on your list.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That is crazy.
That's crazy. So a reason why I like This Is the Life is I think the music is really catchy. And I think that this song really held up well over time, because basically, if Al were to write This Is the Life, today and put it out on his next album or put it out as a single, he really wouldn't have to have changed any lyrics to it. It's still relevant today.
That is true.
It's kind of the rich person, who kind of just. He's just living the best life, and he's just like, he has monographed Kleenex, and he's in his bathtub with Perrier. It's just kind of like the rich life extravagance that you kind of see, like the billionaires on Instagram,
yes,
the billionaire kids on Instagram type of thing. Yep. It's just, so I think it holds up really well. I think it's really just a catchy tune, and I've always just enjoyed it, and I even love the little heavy metal guitar solo in the middle by by Jim. So it's
a great song.
Yes,
I think it's very funny that we're talking about this today, because I just bought Johnny Dangerously on DVD today. I just ordered it. So I'm excited about that.
Right, and the funny thing is, I did not know when I first heard this song that it was the theme song for Johnny Dangerously. I did not find it out for many years afterwards.
I have never seen the film, so now that I bought it, I can actually watch it. But it's great. So my number 1 is not on your list. Do you want to guess?
Your number 1, yeah. Wow. Let's see. If I had to guess, I would probably say you're gonna go with Hooked on Polkas.
No.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't a
Well,
real
gee, I only
guess,
got
was
a
it?
couple more. Only got a couple more left. How about Slime Creatures from Outer Space?
No. You're just goofing.
It's, I guess it's well, I'm only down to a couple of choices
Yeah,
left,
that's
right? So, all right. So, why don't you just let us know what it is?
My favorite track on the album Dare to Be Stupid is Dare to Be Stupid.
Oh, of course.
Of course. I can't believe it didn't make your list.
You know, it made my honorable mention list.
Wow. Okay, so we agreed on a couple things. We agreed on Like a Surgeon. We agreed on Girls Just Want to Have Lunch, which that one I didn't know if you were gonna go for. So that one's I'm
Yeah, I
surprised.
was surprised.
that-
I was thinking I would have to convince you to put that one on the list. So I'm happy. I'm happy we're both on the same page on that one.
What we don't agree on, I don't have This Is the Life on my list. I like the song, but I just like the other 5 better. Let me run down my list just for the listeners who are not keeping 6 pages of notes. My number 1 is Dare to Be Stupid, Yoda, Like a Surgeon, Girls Just Want to Have Lunch, and Cable TV.
Okay.
In your top 5?
At my top 5, I have Yoda. I have This Is the Life. I have One More Minute for number 3. For 4, I have Like a Surgeon. And for 5, I have Girls Just Want to Have Lunch.
Love it. So, how are we going to do this? We have to somehow agree on a 5.
Let's talk about Dare to Be Stupid, because we didn't do that yet.
Yes. I don't know how you can go wrong with Dare to Be Stupid. It's always been one of my favorite songs ever since I heard it. I remember being on a school field trip. I had Dare to Be Stupid playing in my headphones, and I was singing along to it, not realizing that, of course, no one else could hear it. And I remember, like, some cute girls, like, tapped on my shoulder. They're like, "We can hear you." And I wasn't embarrassed. I'm like, good, you get to hear Dare to Be Stupid. It's just such a fun song. I mean, it really is the one that gets stuck in my head the most out of anything on this album. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got those silly lyrics.
The lyrics are so silly, and it just
Right.
it makes you laugh no matter how many times you've heard it. It's a clever song, and I love that it's kind of defeating the cliche with the song, and I really appreciate that. So,
and I like to just to be fair, I like that song too. It's on my list. It's on my honorable mention list.
Right.
I like but the reason for me it didn't make my top 5 list was because I actually like the live version of it, seeing it live better than I like the album version.
right, that's the same reason that Yoda didn't take my
just
top
the
spot.
audience. Yeah, the audience interaction. You go and you see it live, and he's doing the "I can't hear you, I still can't hear you, I still can't hear you."
Okay, I can hear you now.
I can hear you now. Right? It's just he's able, and he's just a wacky. The lights flashing all over the stage, and them in their yellow jumpsuits.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun live. It's a lot of fun on the album too. It did not make my top 5.
Well, I mean, it's my number 1 spot, so I think at the very least it has to be in the top 5. I don't think I can, cannot have it beyond the top 5 at the very least.
I could see an argument for being on the top 5.
I think what we can do, since my number 2 is Yoda and your number 1 is Yoda, I'm willing to put the number 1 spot to Yoda. I'm willing to do that.
Okay, well, you're not going to hear an argument from me because it was number 1 on my list.
I just want you to remember how easily I agreed to this. All right, so we got the top
okay.
Number 2. Okay, so we agreed on Yoda. So now we need to figure out the number 2 spot. The songs that
the other one.
that we
The other
agree
ones
on.
that we agreed on, right? We agreed on Like a Surgeon.
Like a Surgeon and Girls Just Want to Have Lunch.
Right, and Like a Surgeon for me was my number 4. and Girls was my number 5. For you, Girls was your number 4, and Like a Surgeon was your number 3.
Yeah. So, does that earn the number 2 spot? Since we agree on it.
I think we can give Like a Surgeon number 2.
Okay. I'm happy with that. I think when we get down to the 3, 4, and 5, this is where it's going to start getting
this is going to be a little difficult. I mean, I guess if we're giving Like a Surgeon number 2, then the other song we agreed on was Girls, and Girls I think we got to give number 3.
But I would argue Girls is not number 3. I would argue Dare to Be Stupid is number 3. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting Dare to Be Stupid below Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. As much as I like the song.
Okay. What about if we put Dare to Be Stupid as number 3, but we also put This Is the Life on the list somewhere?
So then I would lose cable TV. But I'd be willing to lose cable TV just to have Dare to Be Stupid be higher on the list. So...
Okay, so I think we've got it then. Then you've got, if we put Dare to Be Stupid as number 3.
Okay.
And Girls as number 4 or number 5. And
all right, well,
This
then,
Is the Life as the other.
so
I guess
where
we just
did
gotta
you...
pick. Well, I had This Is the Life as number 2 and
This is
Girls
the-
as
okay.
number 5. So I guess This Is the Life would be number 4 and Girls would be number 5. There we go. I think, are we happy? Let's go down this list. For number 5, we have Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. Number 4, we have This Is the Life. Number 3, we have Dare to Be Stupid. Number 2, we have Like a Surgeon. And number 1, we have Yoda. Are you happy with that list, Ethan?
You know, I expected us to argue a bit more, but I'm happy with that list.
There we have. We have the top, our Dave and Ethan's top 5 songs in order off of Dare to Be Stupid.
Excellent.
So I had another song on my honorable mention list that I do want to bring up, and that is I Want a New Duck.
Such a great song.
Right. And this is, of course, a parody of I Want a New Drug, Huey Lewis and the News. Another one where I knew the original before I knew the parody.
It's such a silly song. And
It is a silly song, and it's very true. It's very true to kind of the original song too. Like it's almost so clever how he just really changed one word,
right.
From drug to duck, and he just made this totally different song. It is an amazing song.
Well, it's the
right?
genius of Al, because how do you come up with changing drug to duck? It's so out there, but so perfect.
Right, and then be able to use lyrics like tie him up with duct tape and the duck stops here,
I want to get down.
And show me how to get down. How to get down. Get it, baby. Get it. How to get down, baby. Get it.
As a kid, I totally didn't get it.
Well, I don't know, Ethan.
I was young, Dave. Come on.
And I also gotta to say it's I really enjoy probably my favorite part of that song, and I laugh every time it happens, especially when Al does this song in concert, and is when the band's just going quack 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 quack. That just makes me laugh every time, because it's amazing that first of all, it's just funny that this amazing band performer, these amazing this amazing artist, this amazing singer, they're just standing up stage going quack 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 quack. It just makes me laugh. And also the fact that he turned in the original song, there's a sax solo, there's a saxophone solo, and that's what he turned into a quack. He turned the saxophone solos into quacks. So it's just so for me that's why that just the quacking and just the fun, how fun that song is and how silly that song is, why it made my honorable mention list.
I think we deserve to talk about the songs that didn't make our list or the honorable mention list And just going in order of the track listing, George of the Jungle.
Yes, that's actually. I thought that was an interesting choice, and for a cover song. I didn't really understand the backstory about it. You know, that Al's record label told him he had to do a cover song, so of course he picked, a cartoon show to cover the song. But I was like, because for me, I never watched George of the Jungle, so I don't even know if I knew it was a cover song when I first heard it.
Right.
I just kind of thought it was just a really weird song.
Yeah,
So
I definitely seen old episodes of George of the Jungle, but I'm gonna pick a song that Al actually wrote before I picked that. I love hearing Al's covers. I love hearing how he interprets stuff, but I can't put that ahead of an original or a really great parody.
Yeah, and the next song on the list is Slime Creatures from Outer Space.
Yes, that is such a fun song. I love. I've always been a huge sci-fi fan, so hearing his take on that and just making it so ridiculous, it's fun. But it didn't make my list. Not every song can be on the top 5, unfortunately.
I love that song too, and same reason I love the sci-fi, 1950s sci-fi music type of feel to it. But I feel that as far as like those sci-fi type of things, I think that Attack of the Radioactive Hamsters from a Planet Near Mars is just a better song than Slime Creatures for me.
It is.
So for me, that's why it didn't make my list.
Yeah. Well, we can't forget the last song on the list that did not make our top 5 is Hooked on Polkas.
Hooked on Polkas. Of course, I'm surprised, that a polka medley did not make our top 5, frankly.
Really?
Yeah, because polka, the polka medleys are usually a high point for me on the album.
See, I love, this kind of goes with George of the Jungle. It doesn't have Al lyrics in it, so I don't like it as much. I still love it to death, but I love an Al song that was written by Al more.
Yeah, for me, the reason it didn't make the list is just the choice of the songs that were in the polka. I wasn't as familiar with the originals as the original versions of those songs that were polkaed as I was on a lot of the later polkas. Mm-hmm. I love, I got to point out that I absolutely love We're Not Gonna Take It being in the polka, and I love just the way that he sings it in the polka.
Yeah.
I love that Footloose is in there. And I love, it's called Metal Health, Bang Your Head. I love this, Bang Your Head. And then he has the metal sounds that go cling, cling, cling. I just love that too. So, I mean, it's a good polka. For me, it just didn't make the cut as far as just the songs in it.
Yeah. Nope, I agree. Great. Well, that's our rundown of the album Dare to Be Stupid, our top 5 songs. Yoda, Like a Surgeon, Dare to Be Stupid, This Is the Life, and Girls Just Want to Have Lunch.
We would like to thank our listeners. You are the most important part of this podcast.
Thank you for listening.
We want to hear from you whether or not you agree or disagree with our top 5 Dare to Be Stupid songs.
Obviously, you're going to agree, but we still want to hear from you anyway, so you can head on to our social media. It's at 2000inch on Twitter, on Instagram, 2000inch on Facebook, and we're at 2000inch.com.
We also want to thank for an amazing interview Eliot Chang. He is hilarious. He is so much fun to talk to, and he's such a big Weird Al fan. Who knew?
I mean, he told me he was a Weird Al fan, but I didn't know the extent to which he was a Weird Al fan, so that was really cool.
Next week's episode kicks off a month-long celebration about our favorite movie, UHF. This year is the 30th anniversary of UHF.
Can you believe it's been 30 years since UHF came out?
Absolutely amazing. I just love that movie so much, and I'm so excited that we get to talk about it for an entire month.
And our first guest of the month will be Susan McNabb. She is one of the mustachioed women from the Robert Palmer parody in the UHF music video. And oh yeah, she also dated Jerry Seinfeld, and the character Elaine on Seinfeld was based on her.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 8-inch.
I can't watch anymore because I feel dirty.